Hello BookTube, I'm Jonathan, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about the next 10 sci-fi books on my TBR list. Because if there's one thing that BookTube likes talking more about than books they've read, it's books that they're going to read. It's kind of like going to the movies, and the trailers are almost exciting as the movie itself. So we're going to be talking about these books. This stack here, yes, they are quite heavy. I'm going to be going through them 1 through 10 in the order that hopefully I'll be reading them. And what I'll be doing is saying why I'm interested in them, whether it's the premise, the cover, the author, and I'll also give you the Goodreads rating for each, just for a bit of fun. So after I've read them all, we can go back and see whether there was any correlation between the Goodreads rating and how much I enjoyed them. So stick around, let me know what you think of these, and let me know what you're reading, what's on your TBR list. Let's get into it with book number 1. So at number 1 we have Empire of Silence by Christopher Rocchio. Now this is a sci-fantasy, a space opera. As you can see, I was drawn to it by the cover. It's pretty epic. I love the color purple. And apparently this book spans over epic amounts of time. I really love things of scale like that, like House of Suns. So that really drew me to this, and it's book 1 of the Sun Eater series. I've been reading a lot of standalones, so I'm excited to sink my teeth into a series. This has a 4.01 on Goodreads, which is pretty good. And yes, I've heard the prose in this is fantastic. I'm a little cheeky. I have actually started this one. I'm about 100 pages in already, and I'm enjoying it so far. So I'm excited to see where this journey can take me. Next, at number 2, we have Howling Dark by Christopher Rocchio. That is a little bit of a cheat. I have gone ahead and already got number 2 in the series. I am enjoying it. I have a good feeling that I'm going to get into this Sun Eater series. This actually has a 4.24 on Goodreads, which is quite a bit higher than the first book, but be warned, with Goodreads, what can happen is if you like it or you love it, you often go on to read book number 2, whereas book 1, if you don't like it, you drop out. So often book 2 I like about as much as book 1 in a series, but book 2 has a lot higher rating because all the people that didn't like book 1 dropped off. So just be warned. I have heard great things about this, so I could like this even more than the first one, but that's just my little warning for you on Goodreads sequel ratings. But anyway, it's another chunky book. Look at that, that's pretty thick. So I might slip in a thin one in between the two, just because I'm a bit behind on my TBR schedule this year. I've been reading a lot of 500, 600, 700 page books. So, but yes, if I'm loving it, I'm just going to kick straight on through with book 2 in the Sun Eater series. Next at number 3, we have Oryx and Crake by Margaret Atwood. Now, I actually had a professor recommend this book to me about 10 years ago, and I'm finally getting around to it. So this one's for you, Professor. I haven't read anything by Margaret Atwood. This will be my first. Obviously, Handmaid's Tale is very famous now because of the series. I didn't want to start with that just because I didn't want to have any sort of preconceived notions or any images in my mind. I just wanted to start out fresh with Margaret Atwood, and then based on how much I enjoy this, I'll get into Handmaid's Tale and some of her other writings. But this has a 4.00 on Goodreads, so pretty good score as well. Will be interesting to see how it lives up to that. It's supposed to be a pretty dark tale, a dystopian sci-fi future, so very interested to finally hear what Margaret Atwood has to offer. The 4th book on my TBR list is Use of Weapons by Ian M. Banks. This is the 3rd book in the Culture series. I've read the 2nd one, A Player of Games, which I really enjoyed. They are separate, so you don't need to read them in order. They are somewhat standalone, although all part of the same universe. I've heard this one has a very different structure to the rest of them, quite a unique book. It has a 4.17 rating on Goodreads, which is one of the highest, I believe, for Ian M. Banks. So it'll be interesting to see if I like this one as much as Player of Games, and if it's near that good, I'm definitely going to keep on going with the Culture series. Coming in at number 5 is Rendezvous with Rama by Arthur C. Clarke. Now, you might be noticing a bit of a trend at this point. Yes, I am team paperback gang. I love paperbacks, especially mass market paperbacks. The smaller the better, because I mostly read in bed at night, and when you're reading a big, fat, heavy hardback, you accidentally fall asleep, it falls and hits you in the face, it's no fun. So yes, paperback version of Rendezvous with Rama. I'm a big fan of Arthur C. Clarke. I really enjoyed 2001: A Space Odyssey, and I absolutely loved Childhood's End. So this gets compared to that as a lot. This is a first contact story, I believe. Has a 4.10 rating on Goodreads, pretty similar to Childhood's End, so that's a high bar. If it can match that, I will definitely be 100% team Arthur C. Clarke. Next at number 6, we have Dragon's Egg by Robert L. Forward. Now, I've heard that this is quite hard sci-fi, deals with time and evolution. It gets compared to Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky, which I absolutely loved. So if it's anywhere near as good as that, we're in good shape. It'll be interesting to see Robert L. Forward's take on maybe some similar concepts. It has a 4.15 rating on Goodreads, so again, very strong. Not too thick. This is a lot thinner than Children of Time, so we'll see how efficient Robert L. Forward is, but definitely excited to jump into some heavy sci-fi here. The 7th book on my TBR list is Recursion by Blake Crouch, although looking at the cover, I kind of wish I'd made it number 8. Now, I read Dark Matter, also by Blake Crouch, and loved it. I recommended it to my dad. He didn't like it as much, so we'll see this one. I might, depending on how good this one is, I might recommend it to him, try and get him to like a Blake Crouch book. But anyway, I believe this is a mystery, a thriller. It also deals with the concept of memory loss, which I found really interesting in Dark Matter, and that was a real page turner. So if this is anything similar, it's pretty skinny. I'm sure I'll blow right through this one. So excited to take another fast-paced journey on a bit of a different type of sci-fi book. It's a modern setting, something a bit different, which I'm looking forward to. And this has a 4.14 on Goodreads, another solid rating. So we'll see if it lives up to that and to Dark Matter. Coming in at number 8, we have Ubik by Philip K. Dick, who is obviously one of the heavy hitters in sci-fi literary history, so much so you can just refer to him as PKD. So I have a bit of an interesting history with PKD. I have only read The Man in the High Castle, which I liked but didn't love. Also, obviously I've seen Blade Runner, which also I didn't love as much as many people do, although maybe this is a hot take. I really enjoyed Blade Runner 2049, so let me know which one of those two you preferred. And I also really enjoyed A Scanner Darkly. But it's time to actually read some more of his books instead of just basing my opinion on works based on his books with Ubik, which I have heard is pretty bizarre, pretty surreal, kind of trippy. It's going to mess with your mind. So I'm excited to see what kind of weird stuff old PKD has for us with this one. The Goodreads rating on this is 4.07. Philip K. Dick has surprisingly low ratings on Goodreads, considering how popular he is, but this is one of the higher rated ones, so we'll see if I like it as much as the Goodreads community does. And with the second to last book, coming in at number 9 on the list, we have A Memory Called Empire by Arkady Martine. Now, this is another space opera. This is, I believe, supposed to be quite political, so I'm looking forward to getting into the wheeling and dealing, all of the factions, the political parties, the underhandedness. It all sounds pretty intriguing to me. This has a 4.15 rating on Goodreads and also won the 2020 Hugo Award, so it's kind of cool to be getting into a current series, although I believe it might already be finished. I think there is just 2 books in the series, but part 1 of 2 sounds very interesting, and looking forward to catching up. And the 10th and final book on my list is Pandora's Star by Peter F. Hamilton. Now, this is supposed to be the space opera of space operas. It's pretty epic. You can hear my dog barking in the background. That's just how excited she is for it. This is a chunky book, although it doesn't necessarily look any bigger than some of the others, but this must be some thin paper, because so you flick through it, it's about 1,000 pages long. And I've heard that this is not a complete story. This is only part 1 or 2, so you've got to get through about 2,000 pages to get to the end of this story, so that's why it's number 10. Despite the super high rating, 4.23 on Goodreads, this is a little bit further down the list just because I'm a bit behind on my schedule this year, my TBR reading, because I've only been reading 500, 600, 700 page books, so I wanted to give myself a bit of a chance to catch up before delving into a 2,000-page story. But this is supposed to be up there with the likes of Ian M. Banks and Alistair Reynolds, so very excited to get into this one too. So there you have it, guys. There's the top 10 sci-fi books on my TBR list. Let me know what you're reading. Let me know if you've read any of those books. Let me know what to expect. No spoilers, obviously, but whether you liked or didn't like them. And let me know what's on your schedule. What are you most excited to read? Because I'd love to hear your recommendations, because your TBR list can never be too long.